Hi, my name is Amanda Cathreno and I'm an engineer at Eaton Corporation. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about what a day in the life looks like of being an engineer, what my education is, what my background is, and also give a little bit of insight into what it's like being a woman in engineering. So I got both of my engineering degrees from West Virginia University. I have a bachelor's of mechanical engineering and a bachelor's of aerospace engineering, as well as a minor in mathematics. After graduation, I joined Eaton's Leadership Development Program for Engineers. So what the program entails is a 3-year rotational program where every year you get to do a different engineering job in a different city. So for me, I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do when I graduated. You know, when you say engineering, it encompasses so many things. There are so many different companies and businesses, from aerospace to vehicles to farm equipment to anything you can think of. There are engineers involved. And I didn't really know where my interests lied. So I thought this program would be a great opportunity for me to get to try out 3 different jobs and maybe help me figure out a little bit what I like to do and what my interests were. For my first rotation of a year, I was a quality engineer in Sumter, South Carolina. Throughout that year, I focused on a lot of technical projects, so doing a lot of Excel that I think we all know and love, and really just getting to learn what it was like to work in a manufacturing plant. I had never worked at one before, and it was a really good experience for a first engineering role. After that, I became a supervisor, so I had a team of 15 to 20 production employees where I managed their day-to-day interactions, if that was keeping track of how well they were doing, making changes. I got to work on a really cool technical project where we took all of their paperwork from being physical paperwork to being on a computer. I got them all tablets for that, and that was a really big improvement that I made as an engineer while I was there. Currently, I'm in my 3rd and final rotation in Charleston, South Carolina, and I work at Eaton's Digital Design and Manufacturing Lab. So that's basically just a really fancy, wordy way of saying a 3D printing lab. So I found in the last few months that I've been here that this is really what I'm passionate about. So kind of relating back to what a day in the life looks like. Every day I get to work with some of the coolest tech there is. We have a metal 3D printer. The machine is well over $1 million. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact cost, but we print aluminum parts. So right now we're working on a few different projects that are going to go out to some aerospace companies. And it's something I'm really passionate about because we're making things that couldn't have ever been done before possible. So if you had a part that maybe had 50 or 60 pieces, if you 3D print it instead, you can get it down to 1 piece and save an incredible amount of time and an incredible amount of money. And that's something that excites me as an engineer, is making improvements in things that we take for granted. Like, this is going to be 50 parts. Well, it doesn't have to be, which is awesome about being an engineer, because you can look at things and say, actually, I don't think it needs to be that way. I think we can do something better. Something that's really exciting about my job is getting to work with the newer technology like I was talking about. So we're getting 2 new machines coming up, and we're going to be doing things that not many people have the opportunity to even see. And so being an engineer that gets to work on that is an honor and a privilege. And something unique about our lab is I'm the only woman who works there. When I actually joined, we had to get a step stool because I couldn't reach the machine. So I'm 5'4", I'm not super tall, but both of the guys who work there and the new ones that got hired are all well taller than me. So there's some challenges like that that come out day to day that you don't even think about being a woman in engineering. You know, they didn't think to say, oh, a woman's coming to the lab, she might not be able to reach everything. So when I got there and I realized that even on my tiptoes I couldn't reach things, we had to order some step ladders and step stools and things like that for me. So being a woman in engineering, I didn't feel like I was forgotten about, but there were things like that that, you know, could happen to anyone, that is just kind of unique to our situation. In addition, we have to wear a lot of personal protective equipment. So we have to wear these big helmets on our head that have air that flow through. They're called powered respirators, that we do to keep ourselves safe from the metal powders and the argon gas and things like that. Something the lab had never dealt with is that they never had anyone who had long hair. All the guys that work there have short haircuts. So we had to figure out what the rule was for what I needed to do with my hair, because no one knew. We didn't know if it could be out, or if it had to be tied back, or if it had to be in a helmet, or what it was going to be. So that, again, is just something that's kind of unique to being a woman in engineering, that I didn't, I never thought we'd be asking the question, what do I do with my hair here? And of course, I'm not willing to cut it off, so that wasn't an option. But we ended up coming to the conclusion that I just needed to tie it back and it would be okay. But things like that you don't expect just come up. And since there has never been a woman that's worked in the lab, we didn't know. We had to find answers somewhere else for questions like that. Some other things throughout my education, there would be instances in my university classes where I would be the only girl in a class of 50 or a class of 60. And it sounds intimidating, but I promise it doesn't actually feel that way when you're there. I think it's something that personally made me stand out, and I don't think that I got in any weird or bad situations. I felt like I was fully supported and fully respected throughout my time in university, even in those instances where I was the only one in a class of 50 or 60 that was a woman. And that's something I'm really proud of for the university, making sure that they have that level of inclusion and diversity. And that's something that I would recommend you look for in a university. Maybe go and shadow a class and see what it's like to sit in those engineering classes and see how it would feel like. In addition to that, I did an internship with NASA my junior and senior year of college, and they were the same way. There was no difference in the way I was treated. There was nothing unique about me being there. They did a really wonderful job of making sure that I felt appreciated and included and didn't get anything different from what it would have been if I wasn't a woman who had worked there. So another thing I'd like to mention is some of the groups in college that can be really great as a woman in engineering to be a part of. So there are organizations like the Society of Women Engineering that you can join that really helps you connect with other women in engineering. So it made me feel like I wasn't alone, and it made me have some friends. So sometimes it's nice just to have some girlfriends instead of hanging out with the guys in the classes all the time. And groups like that can help you make those connections and help you make those lifelong friends. Another thing organizations like that can do is help you do community outreach for other women who might be interested in STEM throughout the community. So I think that's a really valuable experience. So that was about all I had to share today. If you ever have any questions, I'm more than happy to be a resource and answer them the best I can. If not, thank you for taking the time to listen today, and I wish you all the best.